So before I start off today's video, I want to briefly touch on the thumbnail. I have put "this is Final Fantasy" because the common debate as of late is what is a Final Fantasy? It is a different answer from different people. For me, it is simply its ability to remove me from reality, suck me into its world, get me invested in its characters and story, and then everything else that follows. Whether it's a junction system, whether it's a materia system, a relic system, a system that may be broken and can be messed around with, a turn-based battle system, an action-based battle system, a hybrid of both, it doesn't matter. Final Fantasy has always been home to me, and I have continued to evolve with the series since I started playing with Final Fantasy VII and going back to the ones before that, and Final Fantasy 16 is no different. This is Final Fantasy through and through. And with that all being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you are all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Shout out to Square Enix for providing me with a review copy of Final Fantasy 16 so I can get my thoughts, my opinions, and the footage you're going to see ready for today's video. So thank you, Square Enix, for the opportunity. I have got you covered with timestamps in the description down below as always, so if there's a certain section you want to skip to, feel free. All I ask is for you to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you like the content, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of that content, and of course I want you to get involved in the comment section down below. So Jen, before you get into this, how much have you played of Final Fantasy 16? Have you rolled the credits? Well, down here somewhere, the PlayStation statistic that I have currently, I've got through this game 65%. That's it, I've not rolled credits. And I've played for 52 hours, so I've had quite an extensive time with Final Fantasy 16. So in a nutshell, if you want to know my kind of like summary of everything I'm going to go into, Final Fantasy 16 is that this is an incredible game and you should go buy it. If that's all you come for, I'll catch you on the flip side. For those that want to know how I came to that conclusion so far, stick around because we're going to get into all of the nitty gritty. Don't worry, no spoilers here. The footage I have selected has been carefully selected because I want you to have the same experience I am having right now with Final Fantasy 16. So I want to get graphics and performance out of the way, and yes, there are some frame drops here and there, mostly for areas that have like high volumes of people or a lot of things going on. Apart from that, it doesn't spoil the experience whatsoever. The graphics, I played on the 1080p monitor right here because I wanted to capture all of the footage. I've not had a chance to play on the 4K TV, but I can tell you right now, the graphics, absolutely incredible. The amount of detail in its environments, its effects, and everything else in between is just absolutely epic. So let's move on straight to the story. But Jen, don't talk about the story. You said you wouldn't ruin this for me. Don't worry, I'm just going to kind of sum it up how it's been for me. This story, if you've played the demo, you will know what you're in for. The thing that's always been said about this game is that it's a roller coaster, and it really, really is. It's an incredible journey, and I haven't even finished yet. There have been times when I've been wanting to put the controller down after a certain cutscene because of the way it's told, through its music. Its voice acting is absolutely incredible, and just the way it's kind of captured. And to put the controller down and just kind of take a moment and take it in and be like, okay, I'm ready for the next act. And that's the way it's been all the way through since finishing the demo and going through the game. Let's move on to its characters and let's talk about Clive in particular. Clive is one of the greatest protagonists of all time. This is because of the journey he goes through. His character development throughout the story has been something I have been invested in and something I've really related to through this journey, which I didn't expect. It tapped into things of me that I didn't expect it to do, and I've related to Clive on a personal level. And that, of course, is thanks to the way Clive has been written, and of course how Clive has been performed by Ben Starr. Now, you can't have a great main character without its supporting cast, and of course we have the characters we know about, and they all respectfully do a phenomenal job, but there are the side characters that really shine in this game. It's incredible how all of the characters are written. Every character you come across that has a name has been written in a way that makes you want to care about them. And there's a character I want to shout out. I'm not going to give any context, but it's Gav. And if you play through the game, come back to this video and tell me how you feel about Gav. And I've got to give kudos to the way everything has been written when it comes to the characters. So rounding off kind of characters and story and cutscenes, I've got to talk about the music. Soken has absolutely killed it. Just the taste that we have gotten and you have seen through trailers and the demo, it's just an incy-pincy touch of what we have in this game. There is such a range of music in this game, and some of it caught me off guard, and I was bopping like a madman. I was so into it that I forgot I was playing the game. I'm really excited for this soundtrack to come out so I can invest myself in this music, because it is a journey and it adds to the overall experience. Again, Final Fantasy 16 has been an incredible journey, and music has been so important to that, and I really want to have a specific kind of section here to kind of praise it. But let's talk about gameplay, and I'm going to break this up into exploration, and I'm going to break it up into combat, and it's all going to have different sections, so if you want to skip to a certain section, feel free. These maps, these regions that we get to go across are huge. There are so many secrets to discover, mobs to find, like even harder mobs and bigger mobs to find. You may even find some hunts that you've not even registered yourself with yet and come across it, and it does the little graphic of you coming across a hunt. These expansive lands are beautifully crafted. These look beautiful. I love going through these, whether it's on foot or on a chocobo. There are towns within these huge maps that you can visit to buy items. Maybe there's an orchestrion role hidden there. It's up to you how you want to tackle them, but these towns are full of people. These people have stories. These people have events to talk about as the story progresses. These people have different things to say. It adds to everything that the world has to offer, and it's just a great treat to go through different towns and see what people are saying. And some of these people may have side quests for you to venture as well, so it's well worth to go out your way on these huge expansive maps to kind of get invested. So flipping on from these huge expansive explorable areas, I want to touch on the stages of Final Fantasy 16. If you played a game like Devil May Cry, you will know how these work. These are separate areas that you can't visit whenever you want. You can through the Arete stone, and we'll go into that in just a second, but the stages are crafted beautifully. They support the story that they're telling. Some of these have amazing set pieces that can really catch you off guard. Yes, they can be a little bit linear here and there, but there are definitely sections within the stage where you can kind of go off the beaten path and take in these stages and just see how beautiful they are. And it's quite clear effort has been focused in these stages to make them look beautiful, and it really just adds to the overall experience of exploration. Speaking of making it worth it, the Hideaway. What a hub we have in this game. This is going to be kind of where you do everything when it relates to side content, but of course this is a hub where you can also continue the main story. People you may meet along your journey, whether it's through the main story or side quests, will join you here on Clive's journey. There is a NPC here that will give you the ability to kind of teleport to side quests throughout the world whenever, wherever you need to, as long as that area is accessible in that part of the story. Of course, you have shops here. You have the ability to go to the Blackthorn, the blacksmith, to upgrade your weapons and reinforce them, bring back items that you've kind of found in the world and really kind of make the best weapons you can. A little bit later in the story, you unlock the hunt board, like I touched on when it comes to exploration. You may have come across some of these by accident just by exploring, but this is the hub to find out where they are. Some of them don't give you any kind of clues on a location. It doesn't say it is here in this area. It kind of gives you a bit of a backstory saying in Sanbreque there was a story told once upon a time that in an ancient ruin there was a monster that would only come out when this happened, and you'd use that information to just think, okay, I remember coming across somewhere in this area of Sanbreque, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to go there, and then hey presto, there is a monster. As you progress more in the story, you'll have access to Clive's room, and this is where you have like a shelf of collectibles. Whether it's through the main story or through side quests, there are a lot of items to unlock, and it kind of dresses up Clive's room to kind of let you reflect on what's happened thus far. I touched on it briefly, but the Arete stone is a vital piece to the combat system, which we're going to go into more detail in a second, but it is here. You can go in go against monsters that you've gone against and kind of really brush up on your combos, really hone your craft when it comes to the combat. You can replay stages to get the highest score, and of course this is going to have online leaderboards, so if you're really OP and feel like you can hit the top, then go for it. You can go in with these with timely accessories, but it will come at a cost and it will be reflected on the leaderboards. But this is going to be a really good place when it comes to combat content on YouTube. I'm really excited to see what people come up with. So yes, the Arete Stone is something you definitely want to visit while you're in the Hideaway, just to brush up on combat if you need to. But if you don't, you can go out in the wilderness on these huge maps and kind of go after mobs yourself and hone your craft that way. Finishing up in the Hideaway, we have a few NPCs that provide you with the lore of Final Fantasy 16. This is incredible because whatever you may experience throughout the story, you can revisit by talking to Hippocrates, talking to Vivian Ninetails to kind of get relationships and how they are working currently in the story, or go back to the beginning of the story, see how relationships were and how they changed, how empires have kind of gone against each other throughout history. You can do it all there. And then I'll get again with Hippocrates, the lore master will have all of the lore that you've experienced through the game right there, and that ties into the active time lore. I have tried my best not to interrupt the cutscenes by doing it, but there have been a few instances when I'm like, hold on a minute, who's this guy? Or hold on a minute, what was the event he was talking about? And I'll use it there and then. But don't worry about missing out on anything, because anything that would have cropped up in the active time lore will be available from the lore master, and have a look at your leisure whenever you need to. That's all of the Hideaway stuff out of the way, so let's move on to combat. Combat is very interesting, and I'm going to just kind of sum it up in a nutshell what combat has been for me. It has been incredibly fun. That is it. It's been a treat to play through. From the moment I started, from the moment I am right now, I have improved so much, and that is thanks to the way combat is implemented through maybe timely accessories if you need that. I myself has gone out my way not to use them and adapt to this system as best as I can, and I feel like I'm really getting the hang of the combat and doing some impressive things. Obviously there'll be people out there that are more impressive than me, but the way combat has been handled in Final Fantasy 16, it is a treat whether you are an experienced veteran or you are a newcomer to the genre. So let's break down combat a little bit more. Let's talk about Eikon Abilities. As you progress through the story, you obviously unlock more Eikon Abilities, and then as you master these abilities, you can mix and match them to your heart's content. You can experiment around, see what floats your boat, and see what you can get on with. I do wish that we had like a loadout system, because at the moment I've got my 3 icons and I've got my Eikon Abilities attached to that, but sometimes in different situations I wish that instead of changing all 3 to where I need them to be, that I can just quickly switch to a new loadout. I don't know if it's in the game, I've not gone out my way to check, but I've definitely not seen something that's pointed me in that direction. With any kind of combat, there is grinding. You're going to be traversing these worlds of Valisthea, and you're going to be coming across mobs. It is up to you if you want to engage, but I have took the opportunity to engage with all the mobs I've come across, because I want to grind, I want to get the experience. But again, like the Arete Stone, I'm using this as a learning curve and trying out new abilities just live in the world without having to go back to the Hideaway every 30 seconds. So I really advise, as you're going through the world and thinking, oh, maybe if I try this combo, will it work? Go do it. Find a mob, do it. There's a nice selection of wolves over there. They're going to have it coming to them, and it's been quite the treat doing that. Of course, I can't forget about best boy Torgal. I didn't really use him as much in the demo. As I've progressed and learned how to kind of weave in and out attacks, Torgal has been a crucial element to do that. When I go for a 4-hit combo, and I go for a magic burst, and then I go for a sickle straight after to then juggle him up, and then, you know, kind of really add to the combo system. I really advise you kind of experiment, because it can be difficult going from the directional pads and sweeping through your Eikon abilities. But again, as the game has progressed, I've just come natural to kind of flipping in between all of these things, and it becoming really easy to maneuver. Pushing left on the directional pad swaps out Torgal for the use of items. Of course, these are crucial. You can increase the limit by doing side quests. Again, another reason to go do side quests. But items are important. You get your potions, your high potions, elixirs. It's all there, and I advise you swip and swap between. If you're very confident and you think, I don't need items, don't use them. Weapons and equipment definitely tie into combat in Final Fantasy 16s. All these accessories are very different, and there is so much to choose from. Maybe there's an ability that you're using very often, and it's a key part of how you are handling combat. There may be an accessory that may increase damage. It may increase the cooldown. You may consider using it instead of having accessories that will increase your attack, increase your defense. Accessories, there's such a plethora to choose from, and I really advise you take your time and see what fits your combat style. And to finish off talking about combat, I need to talk about the Eikon battles, and I have a note just here, and it says Eikon battles epic as fuck. That is all you need to know. These are definitely roller coaster rides, relating back to the way this game has been kind of touted to us. These are incredible, and I've gone through some where I think they can't top that. They can't give me like the edge of the seat experience even more, can they? And I'll go on to the next one, and it's even more epic. And I'm going to leave it right there because I want you to experience these Eikon battles for yourself. This is a Final Fantasy through and through, like I said at the beginning of the video. I have had an absolutely amazing time with this game, and I'm really excited to see what your guys' thoughts of Final Fantasy 16 is once you've played the game. That is everything from me. Thank you for watching the video, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.